Hey, it's your boy Hendo checking in, coming to y'all with another video. And today we got a video that I seen, right? Scrolling. And this is guy basically telling the truth about what's going on in the world. Not just in Iran, in the world in Iran. He's letting us know that the war in Iran is just like the smoke and mirrors. Like, look over here, while this is really going on over here. So he breaks down what he thinks is the real war. I don't agree 100% with everything that he says, but I do think it's important to get these different perspectives out. And it's a perspective that I had never heard. I didn't even know that this was going on with China. And I knew about the whole economic war, and I'm gonna do a video on that too. The economic war, I'm gonna drop one today because it's important that we all know about that, and that the US dollar is soon to be gone. You know what I mean? And that's really what this war is really over. But we'll get into that a little later. But I wanted to bring this video so y'all can watch it. I'm not gonna waste no more of your time. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's get into it.
Hello, everybody. This is Joshua Lloyd Fox. It is April the 23rd, 2026 at 0800 Central Daylight Savings Times. I spent most of yesterday after changing the brakes on my car, researching all the money that the Trump family and his insiders have made. I mean, triple and quadruple whole, wealth levels. Since becoming president, Trump has tripled his wealth, and all the people around him have made money hand over fist. And that's just the stuff that we can publicly see. However, there's a much more important thing going on in the world that the U.S. media is not telling people, and it's very difficult to find the information on. And so that's what I want to talk to you about, because I no longer believe that the war in Iran is a war with Iran. I think some of the stuff that's going on around the world that we're doing and that China is doing is indicative of the fact that we have entered into an economic aggression against China, and they have responded in turn. And I'm going to tell you some places in the world today that you're not hearing about, especially from United States media, like the Scarborough Shoal. Probably haven't heard of that. Second Thomas Shoal. Probably haven't heard of that. Spratly Islands. Probably haven't heard of all that. But I want you to remember that one of our very oldest and strongest alliances in the world that dates all the way back to 1951 is with the Philippines. We have joint military operations with them all the time. It is full of military veterans and Americans that live there. It is a very strong alliance in the Judo-Pacific area between the United States and the Philippines. Right now, the Philippines are being blockaded from trade from China, and nobody's talking about it. In fact, here's an image for you right here. That's the South China Sea. I know about the South China Sea because my son was aboard the Ronald Reagan during military operations, real world operations against China and Russian navies in the South China Sea. Now, why is the South China Sea so important? Well, approximately 1/3 of global maritime trade goes through there. We're not talking about oil here, folks. That's what everybody's been so interested in and talking about, is the oil. There's a lot of stuff out in the ocean, trade between different countries and stuff, and almost 1/3 of it, of the world's, I mean, we're talking not billions of dollars a year, trillions of dollars a year in trade goods goes through the South China Sea. And do you know who has control of it right now, ladies and gentlemen? China. Do you know who's blockaded the Scarborough Shoals, the Second Thomas Shoals, and the Spratly Islands through the very middle of the South China Sea? China. And are they doing it with their Navy? No. They have created physical blockade elements, like miles long physical blockades to keep ships from going through there. And everybody it's like the magician's sleight of hand. We're all looking at the Middle East and the Strait of Hormuz and everything that's going on there. And China has blockaded 1/3 of the world's trade goods in the South China Sea. Australia, Philippines, Japan, like some of our strongest allies and trade partners, can't get their goods through, and China's controlling it all. And most importantly, China has begun pressuring and and putting military elements to siege the island of Taiwan. And everybody's like, okay, the whole Taiwan thing, the one China idea, I get it, but why are we so interested in talking so much about Taiwan? Do you guys know what is made in Taiwan that is made nowhere else in the world? In fact, they have a global monopoly of it in the world. They produce more than 90% of the world's most advanced semiconductors. They have a near total monopoly on leading edge chips, sub 10 nm nodes, making it a critical bottleneck for production of AI accelerators, smartphones, and military systems. If you own a smartphone, there's chips in there made in Taiwan and nowhere else. And if China takes over Taiwan and absorbs it into China, now China controls the world market of semiconductors and chips. And it's not just the chips itself, because they're designed by a bunch of other companies. It is the manufacturing process, the foundry model, which Taiwan has perfected, and they're the only ones in the world that can do it, to create these semiconductors and these high level technical chips that are in all major technology, smartphones, military applications, and AI accelerator. And if you read almost any world economic expert, they're telling you the real war in the world is for AI. AI is the cutting edge war for economics, for geopolitical standings. Everything is all about AI. And Taiwan makes the semiconductors and the chips, 92% of them, for AI accelerators. And China's moving in and doing all kinds of exercises and doing blockades and sieges. So we're over here playing with the Strait of Hormuz for just oil, and China's playing chess with blockading all other goods, and the only place on the world where semiconductors and high technical chips are made in every single one of our smartphones. And we have a war with Russia right now, economic war and shipping war in the Arctic. And we all think this all had something to do with Iranian nuclear proliferation. It doesn't. The world stage in economy, and I'll give this to you about Trump. Trump is a POS person, man, but that dude knows business, and he knows how to make money, and he knows how money works on the international stage. And the dude likes to put his name on stuff, but so does China, so does the United States, made in the USA, all of that. So in the Strait of Hormuz, we have boarded, this is the other crazy part about this, we're boarding boats now, right? And the very first one, the MV Tosca, which the last two ports of call were in China, Hong Kong and Beijing. We stopped it. We fired rounds into their engine room. We boarded it. Do you know what was on there? Do you guys know what was on that ship that we found? On that ship was found dual-use chemicals for solid fuel rockets and missiles headed to Iran from China for their ballistic missile program. Now, Trump has actually talked about this. So last week, or the week before, Trump came out on news and said, I wrote a letter to the president of China, and he wrote me a letter back asking him not to arm Iran. And the president of China wrote back and said, no, nobody, no best friend in the world, I won't do that. And then we stopped a Chinese boat going to Iran, and it had dual-use chemicals for solid fuel missiles and rockets headed to Iran for their ballistic missile program. And it's already been internationally shown that they supplied the man-pad systems, the shoulder-mounted surface-to-air rockets that are really the only way we can figure out how they shot down an F-35, F-22, F-15E, and a couple of A-10s. So, I mean, they're not shooting them down with AK-47s, people. Especially the F-35. That's the crazy one. So again, look up Scarborough Shoal, S-H-O-A-L. Look up Second Thomas Shoal and look up the Spratly Islands, because China has blockaded the South China Sea, making the Strait of Hormuz looks like elementary school recess. And you're not going to hear this from the United States media. I'm not getting this from from Fox News and CNN and MSN and all that. I'm getting it from Al Jazeera, some news outlets in the Philippines, and Google AI is literally, and again, it's controlled by the U.S., but it's backing up all of this as you dig deeper into it. This has now moved from a Middle East and U.S. and Israel against Iran into a world problem with trade, economics. Everything's going to get expensive around the world, and there's only a small group of crazy ass people who control it and profit off of it. And at this point, I don't know how we stop this. I don't know how we stop China from taking over as the literal world superpower, getting rid of the petrodollar, blockading the South China Sea, controlling the markets on advanced technology. They're killing us. They're killing us in the international economic platform that we used to control and we used to run, and we were the top dogs. We're not anymore. They're gonna bugger us and make us poor as a country, and they don't even have to fire a single bullet. Anyway, look into all that, because I think that's the biggest problem, and you're not going to hear it from the United States media. And I'll come back and we'll talk about all that other stuff. We're leaving a lot of stuff hanging. The Epstein files, I still got videos to do. The 62 million men, my wife and I still have videos to do. And then Trump's personal finances is a big player, because he's supposed to be playing the international financial game for the good of the United States, and he's enriching himself and his family, and that's not a leader, and that's what's really scary. And now we're seeing the blue wave coming in midterm elections. I don't think it matters at all to him at this point, and there's other ways to take down the United States without firing a bullet, a missile, or an EMP strike, and I think that's what they're doing. Anyway, until next time, I love you all. Joshua Lloyd Fox, over and out.
And this is where shit starts to get dangerous, guys, because we gotta understand that before it was a global fight for positioning in the world. You know what I mean? The U.S. was spreading its influence across the globe. You know what I mean? And it was a crazy thing, but it was a beautiful thing for the U.S. because we were able to position ourselves in spots that were strategic to what was going on, so no one could really, like, we had bases in every region, so no one could really fuck with us, right? If you do, we already got troops over there. You know what I mean? We got troops in every situation, so you can't really run. This is what I feel like. I feel like what he's saying is kind of right, that it's a war now over shipping lanes, and that's where it starts to get tricky, because if we lose the war over shipping lanes, bro, and we have Iran, who we've just killed all their people, Russia already hates us. Pretty much all the people who are together in BRICS, which is a new economic currency that they're trying to use. I think it's who? Russia, China, Iran, a few other countries. I think some African countries, one of the South American countries, if not more. And there's more people joining right now because the American dollar is falling. In order to prop up the American dollar, bro, we need to have control of everything. We need to have everybody scared. Like, hey, either do what we say or bully them basically into using our currency. But if we can't bully people anymore, which we're not doing to Iran, you would think with the biggest military in the world, I've seen videos on YouTube, but I'm talking about how the U.S. military could fend off the whole world. Even if that's true, why is Iran just like holding the Strait of Hormuz? Why is China blockading what he's talking about? I forgot the name of what he said, but what he's talking about. You know what I mean? Why is all this happening? Why is all this happening? Because I think the war is over shipping lanes. Why is Iran? Why is all this happening? You know what I mean? Why? We need to be on it. We need to be smarter. And one thing I want to say to my Black Americans out there is we have to start thinking ahead. We have to start strategically positioning ourselves as a community to come up on top on this. Because at the end of the day, if the U.S. currency falls and the U.S. falls to like a third world country, where do you think we sit in the hierarchy of that third world country? Like, you already know. I don't even got to explain to you the type of problems we gonna have if there's no, like, right now Trump is already not following the world sanctions, and let's say we lose the world, the currency goes down, the rich people here are the only people who have money, everybody else is poor. They got us all living in fucking poor pods, feeding us bug patties or lab grown meat for the rest of our life. Like, Nobody got a job. You just on a fixed income. Everybody is, because AI pretty much took all of our jobs. Like, this war is getting disgusting, bro, and it's something that we got to think about, especially you as an individual, not even just us as black people. You as an individual, where are you gonna sit? If you are already investing, I suggest that you go invest overseas or invest in something else, bro. Don't invest here. If you thinking about starting to invest, don't invest here. Invest somewhere else, because our currency is not holding up. If we lose this war, which it's about an 80% chance we will lose this war. It's not a war for Iran being able to stay sovereign, or a war for the Strait of Hormuz. It's a war for global power. We lose this war, we lose global power. Should have never started the war, and we could have kept the rules up like we were holding on to global power. But now we're losing our global power. It feels like our president is crashing his country on purpose. And you notice, as this country's crashing, it's a lot of these white supremacists popping up everywhere. The TPUSA groups popping up everywhere. The Christian nationalism popping up everywhere. The super racism popping up everywhere, while the people that they voted in office is crash. It seems like these people know something that we don't know, or they're planning something that we not in on. You know what I mean? And we already know this. You can already see by Stephen Miller, JD Vance, all of that dudes who's connected to the Epsteins, that's in the which is majority of them, that is in the that's in Trump's cabinet. I forgot the other dude's name, but all them people, all these billionaires, everybody who's running shit right now, bro, it's sick. It's sick. It's like they know something. It's like they're crashing. Trump already said, y'all don't have to worry about voting for me again. Y'all never have to vote for another president again. Don't worry about it. So, bro, as Black Americans, we need to start getting our shit together and really trying to understand. And all other communities too. It would be beautiful if we can come together. You know what I mean? But I can tell you now, a lot of these immigrants that ran here because it was the biggest country, they'll be running over there soon. It'll just be us here to fight that fight. That's what we've been asking for. That's what we're gonna get. It'll just be us here to fight that fight. Because a lot of them going back home, it ain't gonna be worth staying here. Mexico currency gonna be way better than America. Mexico gonna be a developing country. Why America's demilitarizing and de-developing and going through its own problems. And you know what happens after a country falls every single time throughout history? Mass anarchy. A whole era of fighting for power, this side versus this side, people dying, streets. It's gonna be the countries don't just fall peacefully. You know what I mean? It's throughout history, countries have not fallen history. Maybe I'll react to a video. I just watched a video not that long ago, probably a month or two ago, about a dude talking about why America is going to fall, because it's already progressed through the stages of what all other empires have progressed through to before the fall. The last stage, I think, is us rising up against the billionaires. But it doesn't look like anybody really. It look like everybody pussy right now. Like we got them people, them fouls in office right now. We got dude talking about using nukes. We got dude taking us to war for a whole nother country. And that's why I'm honestly thinking that they finna run off, bro. As soon as they get their money, bro. Soon as this is all over, Trump's thing is over, they crash the country and do what they do, they flying to Venezuela. He gave all that money to Venezuela, he out of here. He gave all that, he did all that shit for Israel, he out of here. That's why they trying to make a greater Israel. They already told you, we finna make Trump towers in Gaza. They all finna go over there. They finna crash this country and go over there. But thank y'all for checking in with the boy. Thank y'all for watching the video. If you made it this far, I really appreciate you. Truly appreciate you. Like, comment, subscribe, hype this video up. Let me know in the comments what you think about this whole take, his whole take, my whole take, your opinion on the situation. What do you think the war is over? What do you think is going on? What do you think about the U.S. currency crashing? Do you think it is going to crash?